But I'm encouraging you as students to think about the process as not just a means to an end, but an opportunity for you to really think about, what are you good at? What do you love? What is your unique gift to the world? Be narrow in your focus. Don't just reiterate your activity sheet of all the things you've done. And try not to talk about, say, all of summer camp, but pick one moment, one conversation, one meaningful experience, or one person that you met, and narrow your focus as much as possible. Get in and get out. That's a big point. You don't want to write more than 3 pages double-spaced, really. I mean, again, remember your audience. They're exhausted, and they want to get to know you, but certainly don't waste words. Get in and get out, and use your best writing. Edit. Please edit, okay? I can't tell you how many times I've had students misspell the name of the college in their application. Okay, don't do that. I highly advise not to do that. Edit, though. Go through it. Spend time with it. Set it down. Go back to it. Give yourself that time to do that. Don't show your parents until it's done, okay? Because it just puts more pressure on the situation. So please shy away from that. And don't share your essay unless you want feedback, because if you show it to your teachers, they're going to show it to other adults, other friends. They're going to give you feedback. It may not be what you want to hear, so you kind of have to be open to that constructive criticism, okay? I know it's a very, very vulnerable process, putting your whole life out on paper for other people to judge, the essay and the whole application process. But just remember, you have strengths, you have gifts, you have unique skills, and you are the only you in the world. So just remember that. You are special, okay? And we want to get that communicated through your essays. And then ultimately, find your own authentic voice. There's a lot of college essays out there on the internet. There's a lot of college essay books, essays that matter, and all that. Don't be tempted to try and mimic somebody else's idea or somebody else's voice, because it really will come off as inauthentic, and you really don't want that. You want it to be your own voice. So work on finding that and working through that. So I hope this has been really helpful. If you have any other questions or anything that comes up, just go to www.AveryEducation.com. Shoot me an email. I'd be happy to answer any other questions that come up, or if there's anything that that was unclear. Good luck, and just remember, there is a lid for every pot. There's a school for everyone. Unfortunately, we're all in love with the same couple hundred schools, and name brand schools sometimes get to be the ones that everyone wants to go to. But try not to get too sucked into that, because there are tons of schools out there that will be great matches for any good student or anybody who really wants to continue their education. Okay? Best of luck. Now let's look at your adjectives, and let's talk about those. So, Joy, do you have one that stands out for you?
Helpful.
Helpful. Okay, fantastic. That's so you.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a story or a little demonstration of that? Go ahead.
There was a new student that came to my school, and she was really self-conscious, and she was I was the one that was showing her around to the school and stuff, and she would keep saying to me that she thought people were making fun of her and people were looking at her, and she was just saying really bad things about herself, and you could tell she was very self-conscious. And I let her sit with us at the lunch table, and I became good friends with her and tried to make her feel better and welcome her to the school so she would be more comfortable. Yeah. So I thought that was being helpful to her to help her fit in.
Fantastic. You reached out to her.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say enough that that's a value that colleges would love to have in their students. Compassion. Being sensitized to the needs of others. Everybody has been in that situation in their lives where they felt like they're the new person, the outsider, and you really compassionately reached out. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome. That would be a great essay topic. Now, what other attributes about you?
Leader.
Okay.
At cheerleading, just last week we had gymnastics as a team together, and a lot of the girls were being lazy, and they were all sitting down, and they weren't getting up and doing what they had to do, and I'm the captain, and me and the other captain kept telling them, get up, and they still weren't working hard, so I just stepped up, and I just got up and started tumbling and working really hard, so I led by example so that they would see that I was working hard, so that they would try harder, and then it worked, and they all started getting up and trying harder.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing like leading by example.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a fantastic example. You know, it's an everyday example. It's not some like extraordinary moment where you walked on the moon or anything.
Yeah.
It's just those everyday quotidian types of activities or initiatives that make you who you are. So that would be another great, interesting essay. Mm-hmm. Other adjectives?
I have cheerful.
Okay.
Because I don't have a specific example for this, but just in general, like with my friends, if they're having problems, I'm the type of person that I make them feel better just by being like bubbly and being happy and funny, and that gets them out of their bad moods. And like that's kind of what I'm known for. If people have problems, they just come to me because I help them take their mind off of it.
Yeah.
And forget about it.
That's great. That's a great attribute. And then over the next couple days, maybe you could think about like a time or a moment, like something really specific and concrete. Ask your friends, say them, like, was there a time where I was really, was I helpful, friendly, or your parents, like, they're great too. Like, your parents are they're your time capsule. So use them because they have stories that you may not even remember, like my friend with the grocery bag. Okay. So, do you have some?
I have leader too because of my Go Set Gold Award, where I had to plan the event and I had to learn sort of how to interact with businesses and get them to work with me and to coordinate an event. So.
That's fantastic. What a great story, because that's so much of who you are. You spend so much, like how many hours did that take to plan that event?
Around 180.
Yeah. So that's a huge part of your high school career and a huge part of who you are. You mobilized businesses. I mean, soliciting, that's a hard thing to do, especially as a teenager. Getting people to come, raising consciousness, raising awareness. That's so, it shows you the initiative part of you, the motivator, the community organizer that you are. That's an awesome one. Next.
I had spontaneous from my trip to UPenn, and I was going to just jump on in there and...
Tell that story, because that's a great story.
They were doing a dissection of an emu and an alligator for National Geographic, and he said, "Hillary, do you want to sex the alligator?" And I was like, okay, and put a glove on. It was a girl.
Okay.
That was that.
But you jumped in. You were spontaneous. You are the type of person who will take a calculated risk. That's a wonderful attribute for colleges to know about a student, because that's what the whole learning process is about. It's about you getting out there and learning new things and not being afraid to take calculated risks. Now, I'm not saying like take risks like jump off a building or do crazy hallucinogenic drugs. I'm not talking about that. But really being able to, in a moment, make a choice to make yourself a little vulnerable, put yourself out there and learn something new, whether it's interacting with a new person, interacting with a new subject matter, or whatever. That's an awesome example for you too. I can't wait to read that essay.
Thanks.
Any other ones? What about Harry Potter?
I had creative for that.
Okay, good.
Because they actually really liked the wand that I made that wrapped around with a vine around it, because a lot of the wands are sort of made to look like vines, and then they always drop them, and I've dropped mine numerous times, and so I just made it to wrap around so that it wouldn't drop, and they really like that. So
that's a great story. Because you were doing an internship on
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
And that's another thing. That's a unique experience to you. I mean, a lot of kids go to summer camp, like I said. A lot of kids, to talk about their bar mitzvah, or a lot of students have an experience doing community service. But how do you take an experience that everyone has had and make it unique? Well, you have to focus on what you brought to the experience. It helps if you've had an experience that nobody else has had, like being an intern on, Harry Potter, the set of Harry Potter. So just something, please tell a story that nobody else can tell. Even if it is about your book or something, or cheerleading, or a sport or an activity that everyone can do, make sure it's a story that you and only you can tell. Okay? Thank you so much. This was fantastic. Best of luck, everyone, and just remember, your best writing comes from you and your own authentic voice.